There is no denying the fact that this brand has taken a massive hit in esports in the last several years.
Hmm.
And you only have to look at it and say, this is very unfortunate. And you got to wonder where the path to recovery begins.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel really badly for the players, especially since like I think the most frustrating thing for me is that I don't actually think that CLG is like quote unquote that bad in the context of NA in terms of like their actual roster of talent. And I also think you saw a lot of like confusion from the team in subbing out Pole Belter in the last week, who was their best performing player. And also Wiggly to bring in Frogus and Tuesday. And that to me was also really frustrating for Frogus and Tuesday, because first of all, that's a kind of a terrible position for both of them to be put in when you have people already commenting, why are you taking Pole Belter out? He's very visibly the best performer on this team right now. But then additionally, Tuesday has been with CLG for so long, and he has never been given a chance to be part of the LCS lineup until now. So for me, as someone who actually like does care about NA talent growth and trying to figure out why teams aren't investing in their academy talent and their amateur talent, and part of the reason is because it's a lot of work, a lot more work if you're coming off of NA ladder than like LCK or LPL ladder, but like or EU ladder. But like I think the most frustrating thing for me is like how they manage their final 2 weeks, right? Like that, or their final few weeks, because it just puts like new players in a position where North American teams aren't necessarily willing to take a chance on young talent anyway, and putting them in a situation where they're like most likely going to fail, especially with everything else that's been going on with the team this year. And to me, it just stinks that Tuesday's been with this roster for so long, and this is the chance he gets to prove himself before the team ends up getting kicked out of playoff contention, or like world's qualification, basically. Like that, the disorganization to me was the most frustrating thing to see. So I just feel really bad for the players.
Everything must fall, Arda. Everything must fall. I don't usually use this option when I'm talking about rebuilding a team or restructuring a team, but you need to press the big red button and just blow everything. I'm not blow everything up. I'm not even talking about the roster. Clear out the entire roster. Clear out everything. Clear out everything when it comes to CLG. I'm talking about a rebrand. I'm not saying change the name CLG itself, but it needs something to a kick to it. It's been so bland and so vanilla for so many years. It feels like nothing has changed. Even when they have those seasons where they make top 3, they got 3rd place last summer. They have these seasons where they do quite well, but it's just nothing feels different about them. There's no bite. There's no edge to them. We can talk all day about 100 Thieves and how they're not that great. We can talk about how they need roster changes. Oh, they picked this wrong mid laner. They picked this wrong player here and there. But 100 Thieves, they have an edge to them. We can talk about the apparel brand and all that all we want, but they're good at marketing their players. They're good at marketing their team. So even when 100 Thieves is doing poorly, they're still one of the more well-supported teams in the LCS. CLG just needs an entire rebound. It's very similar to the LCS in itself. It's stagnant. It's become stagnant, where even when they do well, unless it's a first-place finish, nothing's really going to change when it comes to their fandom and changing things around. People stayed with CLG when Doublelift left. Some people stayed after Afremu left. Now, only the true faithful, the ones that will stay faithful to the end, are still left on CLG. And it sucks because they were such a well-supported team for so long, even when they weren't winning championships. And now they're kind of a husk of what they were. And it just needs to be torn down. And then I'm not saying I think Pole Belter deserves a starting spot. I think Tuesday and Frogus deserve shots on other academy teams. But on CLG, it needs to be torn down from the ground down. Everything must change for CLG going into 2021. Or I would not be surprised if, there's other organizations in North America that are doing quite well right now that if I'm Chris Greeley and I'm saying, hey, look at the Sentinel Squad, what they're doing in Valorant. They are doing amazing right now. They are building such a great viewership with their kind of how they're branding their team, their style of their team. Why wouldn't we want Sentinels in the LCS over a team like CLG? If CLG is not going to change at all, you can't live on the past glory forever, Arda, Emily, Jacob. There's only so many damn times I can see remember when CLG made MSI Finals in 2016? Remember those great rivalry with TSM back in 2013, 2014? We can't live on nostalgia forever, and it's gone to the point where CLG needs to tear everything down and rebrand and look different and feel different going into 2021, or it's just a lost cause. And I would not be surprised if they are out of the LCS in the near future.
Yeah, nostalgia only works if you have a foundation to build upon currently.
Yeah,
There's no foundation.
When they first applied for franchising in 2017, like there was a prevailing thought that they were not going to make it. I remember that. Like I remember reporting on that. Then the only reason they did is because they got acquired by MSG, and even that took a lot of convincing because like some of the people that work at CLG are incredibly stubborn. Like they like being like what they hold on to the past, to Tyler's point about the nostalgia, and they don't want to let go. And it's just like, no, at some point you got to shift. And like MSG is not the best of sports organizations to pair up with. It's actually kind of hilarious that that's where CLG ended up at. But yeah, I agree. Like something's got to change because there's no reason to be a CLG fan right now. They don't really perform in any game at this point.
One of the first esports events I hosted after doing Worlds in 2016 with ESPN Esports was at Madison Square Garden in the Hulu Theater, which is the smaller theater within Madison Square Garden, and it was a CLG League of Legends event, and there were upwards of 400 people there just to watch them play some fun show matches, and they had fans playing with them, and it was such a great activation. And that was really one of the things that made me truly believe that this is something very interesting, particularly in New York. I just thought it was so cool that there was something happening in Madison Square Garden like this as a fan activation event, not just Worlds, but for a team.
Well, that was their whole pitch, was like we're going to be like New York's team, and like they just haven't really done a good.
Yeah.
Like I've been to some of those events, and like they're cool, but like they really haven't done a good job at like making you feel like they're a part of New York. Certainly not in the same way that like Andbox has within.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Yeah. And we dunk on Overwatch League all the time. We dunk on it regularly about how they've done wrong things and how the league has been cut off at the knees compared to similar years. But New York XL and the New York Subliners in the Call of Duty League, they are very well branded. They are so far better branded than CLG, where if you ask anyone, I think even the most diehard CLG fan would be like, oh, they're owned by New York, by MSG. They're supposed to be a New York team. There's no branding that connects them to New York. And if you are going to stay in LCS, and if MSG is still going to try to make this work, I feel like a rebranding of trying to make them feel like New York's team is one of their best options left. Like, they tried everything what they could with this bland vanilla roster and this bland vanilla branding, but we can't live it on nostalgia anymore. Nostalgia has ended. You need to do something new. I just can't take any more of these. Hey guys, CLG versus TSM next week. Are you excited? TSM has won 99% of the last 5 years of competition between CLG. Maybe this time they'll do it. I'm just over it. I'm over it. No one cares. Cut it out. Even
the answer is no.
Like so a greater thing that I guess we can end the show on that is always my pet peeve, something I complain about constantly outside of organizations in China, and then to some extent a few South Korean orgs, G2, TL, and like C9, is that and Andbox is one too that does it really well. Like, you need to find a way, 100 Thieves actually as well. You need to find a way to market your esports team that's not just winning. like you really do.
FlyQuest.
I know Jacob and I were chatting about this on Twitter regarding geolocation, because I don't necessarily think that tying a team to a location works either. I think Andbox has done it really, really well.
Yes.
And they deserve credit for that. But I also don't think you necessarily need to have that, and or it shouldn't be on any pitch decks going into this year because of the pandemic. But like, I think that you need to find a way to market yourself other than winning. And actually, FlyQuest is a great example of that because their marketing has been aces all year.
Yes, another team that was super bland. They were like, they were really bland.
Not this year. Not this year. They did great.
They were great.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
EG
agree.
as well.
I got
EG
an
has also
idea.
done a really good job branding themselves.
Yep.
Here's an idea. Let's end on this. Counter Logic Thieves Clan. There you go.
No.
There's your
No.
rebrand.
No.
Are you telling me just like? Are you just like? Are you saying that?
CLTC.
I'm not even sure what that is.
CLTC.
If you're implying that like FaZe Clan is gonna
Yeah,
buy
like,
that,
should we just give them to Sentinels or FaZe Clan? Like, I mean, that's an option too. Just sell the team to Sentinels, sell the spot to FaZe or Sentinels.
There's your rebrand.